Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video. Well, it's Monday, the 15th of August, and again, a lot of activity going on all over the site today. We start off on the west side, fly around the south side, look at a lot of very interesting developments that have happened on the east side. We go to the east yard area where that's expanding, and we look at the battery cathode and the electrical substation work that's going on. There's two areas that I want to highlight in the intro today before we get into the main video. First, on the east side of casting, there are literally thousands, possibly close to 10,000 castings front and rear for the Model Ys, all in mounts and racks and put on the floor or the ground level in the entire section of the casting machine structure. Something huge has changed. We've also seen a lot of very interesting deliveries around the site today. You can see with these images, some are up at the northwest corner on the frontage road, some are at the paint shop, and this one here is very interesting because it was at the casting machine structure as well. And you can see the picture here with the truck delivering, and then an image of it when it's uncovered getting moved inside the casting machine structure. So pretty cool. There's actually one other area I want to talk about today. The east smaller parking lot is getting paved, and we've been waiting for that to happen for some time. So now, probably by the end of the day, certainly by tomorrow, that entire area will be paved as well. Again, a lot to see in the video today, a lot of narration, a lot of discussion. I hope that you enjoy the video. Again, happy Monday, and thank you very much for watching. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Starting off on the west side of the highway today, we get a chance to see a beautiful sunrise over Giga-Texas. And I hope you appreciated the first 30 seconds or so of that sunrise. But now we're going to turn our attention to the west side material storage and foundation location and take a look at what has changed. As you can see, there is some corrugated metal and black plastic piping. We can also see many of these containers for storage, but we can also see some interesting details. On the right-hand side of the screen, there's some purple pipe that is for treated water and maybe either part of the irrigation system or other treated water coming into Giga-Texas. On the left-hand side of the screen, just at the corner, you can see many windows that have been delivered. They're sitting in these crates. We can also see in the blue wrapped, those are mounts for the solar panels. Here is quite a bit of interesting cordoned off materials. The white boxes are for HVAC components. I'm not sure what part of the site that will be going to. We can also see this covered structure with some more materials for the plastics manufacturing. We can see some of the old concrete bases for the light poles in the shape of sort of Cybertrucks. And also in this southerly section, we can see many workers around the areas where the scaffolding components are. And quite a bit has already been moved away. Some of it's being organized here, but much of it went over to the battery cathode plant to construct the temporary staircases up to the roofing section. We also see quite a bit of dirt and a large debris kind of located here. And on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see that new privacy fence that was erected recently. I'm also showing you what appears to be almost completed work on this water management section just south of the River Road. Most of the materials and equipment that were here preparing this area to support water management seems to have moved away, so maybe they are now completed, at least for the work at this time. And this is an overall view of just that west side. So let's get ready to cross over the highway and start looking at the activities on the south end of Giga-Texas. As we fly in over the cyber pond and just enjoy the early morning, we can see quite a bit of activity on the south ramp. On the left-hand side, all of these black Model Ys are newly constructed, waiting for the process of moving them over for transport. We see on the left-hand side of the screen the new 20 superchargers are completed and operational, but I don't see any Model Ys using that yet, but they will be pretty soon. The red tents over the cars in the supercharger location here are fully up and running, and you can see some updates going on as well. As we move towards the small tent here, just one viewer corrected what I thought was a wash area. They think that this tent is actually for testing of waterproofing of some of the glass, and that may be the case. As we approach the platform, one of the biggest changes is this mobile air conditioning unit, and it's going inside the building here, so that is an interesting sign. It kind of indicates that there's a need for air conditioning in there for the crews, or maybe what they're installing, which is very interesting to think about. We're going to move towards the east, and we'll look at the southeast corner of stamping. The paintwork has not changed in the last couple of days, but the company Nowcow, the truck is there, so maybe we'll see some more paintwork coming up soon. Just going to show you around this east side of stamping. You can see the activity next to the building, but also in the distance you can see many trailers have now been moved to that material storage location, and we'll go take a closer look at that pretty soon. Another gorgeous view of the sunrise over Giga-Texas as we also look at more trucks and trailers in this material storage location now, and more activity as well. So something has changed. They're now looking to put trucks here. Also, as you can see with that truck moving on the left-hand side, scraps from the stamping machine structure are being located here now rather than on the east yard location. So we're going to fly towards the southwest over the transport location, and we're going to see how few are right now waiting for trucks. That's because many of them have just been picked up just prior to this video, and the crews will be moving more of the Model Ys here for pickup. But the south material storage location is very busy, lots of materials, and we also can see some crews on the south side preparing more of that metal. And sometimes it's fabrication, sometimes it's welding, but as you can plainly see, more materials are showing up on a variety of materials as well in this particular location. And that roadway, sort of not quite paved, but more improved, is clearly present as well. So we're going to climb up high, move ourselves towards the southeast. This gives you a good view of the south parking and transport location, the material storage, and how the south end of the structure looks this morning. And we'll position ourselves to take a look at the horizontal drilling location shortly. As I fly the drone in closer to this horizontal drilling location on the north shore of the Colorado River, what you can see here is that the drilling rig has relocated to a different bore site and is currently drilling in to pull a secondary pipe through that particular location. I'll continue to monitor that as developments warrant. Now, as we're approaching this material storage location on the east side, you can see many of those trailers now have shown up, in addition to some more dirt, a little bit different, a number of wooden crates that you can see at about the center of the photo or the image, and also on the top right, more of those crates have been removed and moved inside. So a lot of changes here. Also, we can see a lot of activity in this dirt mound. They continue to excavate some of the dirt that was temporarily stored here and is being trucked over to the east side, where they're continuing to prepare a new graded location, probably for some expansion and also for more trailers on that east side. We'll see that a little bit later in the video. But as you can see on this location, quite a bit of activity continuing to pick up that dirt. We're also going to see these trailers once again, and there's quite a bit showing up here, so that's another expansion related to production I believe. This shows you how active that temporary platform is, and they continually move equipment and parts for production up to that second level. This new loading dock is still under construction with some of the plumbing, but you can see the doors, and crews are installing some of the markers and lights indicating the particular cargo bays that have been created. As we fly over the sedimentation basin, which is part of the water management system, we can see this small parking lot now is getting actively paved this morning. There's also a lot of crew that are walking across the parking lot. Very active location today. But we should see, based on the speed that they are progressing with the paving later today, certainly by tomorrow, the vast majority of this area will be paved. And this also adds more charging locations, as you can see right here in the image, to what Giga-Texas already has. So the amount of charging locations, both on the small part and right here where we're flying over, has greatly increased. Now, one of the biggest developments that has happened at Giga-Texas is this storage location of all of these castings. You can see the rack mounts. They've also got some on the ground, quite a bit on the ground. They have more rack mounts ready for storing the castings. It's really difficult to say how many there are, but there are clearly thousands of them here, maybe up to 10,000 of the castings, which is enormous. You can also see a truck delivering some very interesting and very heavy components to the casting machine structure. People want to know, is this part of the 9,000-ton Gigapress? I cannot say if it is or it is not. I'm not sure. But if you look at the intro, I have a different image of this with the covers off, and you can kind of get an idea of how that looks. Also, some people have asked if all of these castings are just scrap, and the answer is absolutely not. These are all clearly ready for use for making the vehicles, and I think this is definitely an indication for ramping that will be coming up pretty soon, and we should start seeing that on the south end, maybe on the east transport location. The other thought that comes to mind as I see all of these outside now is, in thoughts with that 9,000-ton Gigapress, it is possible that they've started moving them outside to make up room in the casting machine structure for the arrival of the parts for that Gigapress. It's going to take a lot of parts, a lot of space to assemble the first 9,000-ton Gigapress. So this is speculation on my part. Take that with a grain of salt, but I just wonder if they are doing all of this to help give that space inside as the work inside the building continues. But one thing is absolutely undeniable is the number of castings that you can see here on the outside of the casting machine structure. And I'm trying to see if we can get a picture of the tarp removed of the truck, but they took a lot longer than I was expecting. So ultimately I had to come back for just a still image, which I showed at the beginning of the video. But I hope that you enjoyed this close look at all of these castings that are next to the casting machine structure. Here's a closer look at the east car parking and transportation location that has been constructed. You can clearly see the bases for the light poles are pretty much ready for installation of the light poles. So hopefully we'll see that soon. And I'm also hoping to see cars brought over here and queued up for the transport trucks. That will definitely give us an indication that production is ramping. This view here shows that warehouse on wheels yard and how it is now expanding, as we have discussed in the last few videos. Now that they've cleared out that dirt area on the east side of it, they're expanding with more trailers. They're also continuing to prepare this graded location on the, I guess, left of this real road and then right by the trees. And I believe this is all to prepare so that they can move more materials and trailers and make up more space elsewhere. This close flyover coming over these trees just gives you an idea of how some of these workshops and trailer location appears. And I'm trying to show you more of how this clearing location is being built up with the grade, with more of the dirt that's coming from that location by the sedimentation basin. I also want to show you just again how this warehouse on wheels yard continues to expand further to the west, and the number of trailers. Again, Giga-Texas uses these as a way of having storage for the parts for production, and also it greatly speeds up the process of getting trailers in full and taking empty trailers back. Now we've arrived at the battery cathode plant, and we'll take a tour through this location and give you an idea of the progress today. So as we approach from the southeast towards the south corner of the structure, you can see crews on the south end welding on more of those mounts for the exterior concrete wall panels that will be brought in here soon. You can also see the perimeter grade beam forms, and on the ground floor now, all those yellow sort of plastic devices put up there, that's an indication that we should see slab work pretty soon in this part of the building. As I pan the drone a little bit to the north, you can kind of get an overall size or view of the size of the building and what is going on this side. What caught my attention was the roof section, so I'm going to reposition to show you what the activity is going on here. In the previous video, we talked about all of the wood that was brought up onto this on the roof and what they were going to use with it. You can see along the perimeter of the roof, all that wood has been placed. What that is partially to give form for the sort of the insulation that they're going to put, and also the sprayed cement, but also this is helpful for avoiding kicking off things that may roll off and then fall and hurt people that are on the ground floor. So it's a multi-purpose reason why they put that wood around that perimeter. You can see some more stair components on the ground, and you can also see how the concrete has been poured on the second and third floor. The ground floor continues preparation towards the north, and also this very large section of the third floor is got all the decking in, and they're preparing to put in the rebar ahead of more of the concrete. Also note just how close to the north end of the building that decking is now. The second and third floors are almost to the north end. The roof is actually to the north end. So I'm going to take a quick diversion up to the far north location where more excavation is going on. I've had some viewers ask what is going on in this particular location, and what we've seen in the past is they've used quite a bit of this for dirt that is used in other parts of the construction site, and you can see a dump truck there moving towards the south over to a different area of the construction site. This also may be just preparing this location for future work at some point too, sort of a two-pronged reason why that they have selected this particular location. On the left-hand side, you can see some more of the trees that have been brought down, and those will eventually be mulched up. And we'll continue to follow that truck just a little bit as we approach the north part of the building again, and we'll continue our tour around to the west side. As I previously mentioned, the roof decking has reached all the way to the end of the north section of the building, and work on the second and third floor decking is also very, very close to that north end of the building as well. I'm going to give you a close-up view so you can kind of see some of the activity that is going on, and you can see some of the crews picking up and moving some of that decking in preparation of fixing it to the steel structure. And once the second and third floor is up to the north end, that will basically complete, pending the concrete, the construction of the second and third floors, which is amazing, the progress that is going on. Here's just a wide view of crews welding on mounts and preparing more wood for that perimeter part of the roof. And I want to show you the progress on this electrical conduit. You can see those sort of the radiused risers coming up, about 6 of them or so. Again, I'm not sure what these are. There's actually a few more on the north end too, but it may be either a charging station or some other electrical machinery that are needed that will have that electrical system there. But this gives you a different view of that ground floor and where they're preparing to put some concrete on that ground floor with all that yellow plastic. So let's fly over to the northwest corner of the construction site and see what is going on with the electrical substation construction. I've had some viewers ask, what does electrical substation do? Essentially, it takes the power from the power lines and it alters the voltage, and it provides the electricity necessary to run the factory. And as you can see here, all of the grid trenches that we saw in the previous video have now been filled in. That means that the copper grounding wires have already been installed, and that underlies the entire structure of the electrical power station or substation that will be put in this location. And that just means that we should start seeing most likely this gravel pile start being spread onto that main site ahead of more of the components starting to arrive and crews beginning to build the substation that will look similar but much larger to that temporary substation that we just passed. And these are some of the components that will be used to create that electrical substation. I'm quickly going to fly up over the power lines and then bring the drone right back down. I want to show you some of the progress in this pit here where you can see the vaults and also more electrical conduit. This continues over to the northeast corner of the casting machine structure, as I've shown previously, and will continue up to the new electrical substation and megapack location. What you can see is here north of the vaults and the vault with the tent, we can see concrete is now encasing the conduit, and that is finishing off that section and will continue to move towards the north. I'm coming back to show you another close-up of the number of castings that are here on that corner of the casting machine structure. Sadly, the big truck has already unloaded its large package that it brought in that we talked about earlier. But again, look at my video intro. I do have a photo of what they were bringing in. It's very interesting. So I'm going to continue to show you some more deliveries at the paint shop today. You can see that one truck that just went out of view had just finished unloading several of these white wrapped items. You can also see that green wrapped modular item as well. And then here we're seeing these large tubes being delivered, and I am not sure what exactly these are. Also, you can see on the left hand side that metal structure. I've had a viewer say that he believes that that's part of the paint shop process, but other than that, I'm not sure what that is still. So anyway, that's a view of Giga-Texas on Monday, the 15th of August. I hope that you appreciated the views from the west side and all throughout the rest of the site. I do appreciate you watching. Thank you very much and have a great day.